Hi there folks, welcome to Dunsy's Guitar World. In today's incredibly interesting and informative video, myself and my little cat we'll be looking at one of the guitars which recently arrived from Japan via Zen Market. So the guitar is this absolute beast of a guitar. It is a Morales ZES-300. It's heavy, it is a heavy guitar, it plays really well and it sounds good. So in the video I'll have a very brief history of Morales guitars and then we'll look at the process that I went through to clean this guitar up when I arrived, because it was very dirty. Now I will say one thing here, I'm just a guy in his house using the ordinary household items I have here to clean up a guitar. Don't take anything I do as advice on how to fix or restore a guitar. I'm just a guy using the stuff I have. So the Zen On, that's who made these guitars. Zen On musical distributor in Japan, who I think are still going. I looked earlier on the internet today and they seem to be distributing like tablature and stuff like that for different music. But I believe they started in the early 1930s. So their house brand, or the brand that they made, was called Morales. They made different models. I think they made acoustics as well. And sorry, from 67 up to maybe 1969, they jumped on the bandwagon of the Ventures being so popular. And Ventures were using Mosrite guitars, and they started making these Morales copies, which is a ZES-300. Now, much like the Mosrite guitars, the top does feature quite a dish carve. I believe it's called a German carve. Now, I took a lot of information from a website called TYM Guitars, which is in Australia, so I've put a link down below. He has tons and tons of info on Mosrite and Mosrite copies, including these Morales guitars, so please do check that out. These guitars were made in the late 60s, basically to copy a Mosrite, but as we'll see as we get on further in the video, it's not like a Mosrite in terms of sound, and I guess I don't think it's the same in terms of neck specifications, but we will get on to that. So here's the first part. Here's what I did to fix this up. I mean, the only thing it needed was like a lot of cleaning, I guess. I mean, a deep clean. And the one thing that was stopping it from being a decent guitar at that point in time when I unboxed it was the lead wire from the volume pot to the output jack was snapped off. I think the previous owner, the output jack must have been loose, and rather than like tighten the washer up or tighten the nut up, it just turned the whole thing and it actually snapped that lead wire off. So about 20 minutes what I did was I just replaced all the wiring inside the guitar, and now it works perfectly. So here's what I did to get it up and running. So here we have the Morales. Now the only thing I've done so far, I took the strings off and I oiled the fretboard, which looks way better now. And I did a very quick fret polish, nothing too serious at this point in time, because there are a few divots in there. It's very small fret wire. Now, I've got this in quite a lot of guitars. It does make a slight bit of difference, but will it make a big difference when I'm playing? I like to put strings on just to see where we are. So as well as doing that, all I used, by the way, was just some steel wool and some lemon oil to do that. So as well as doing that, I've taken all the screws out of the pick guard and the spring out of this massive trem system. So there we have it. Bunch of old rusty screws, and I found this. So I do have two controls. So I've taken all the screws out of the pick guard. Now in the last video you saw that when I plugged it in there was nothing. So I've had a quick look under the hood and I've managed to establish that it is, fortunately, something that's very easy to fix. So let's look under the hood. Now you don't have to be an electrical engineering expert to tell that that wire which is currently not connected to anything, and it should be connected to the output jack. That is the issue right there. So here are the controls. I'm not sure if I'll be able to tell. The date from these was 500k pots. See if I can break anything. Oh, look at that, I love this sort of thing. Japanese marking. So that is the issue with no pickup output. Look at the chunkiness of those P90 pickups and the chunkiness of those saddles. Now, I'm no intonation expert, but I do not expect that this guitar was properly intonated like that. So I'm going to take all the hardware off and just give it a real good clean, have a look under here. Take the neck off as well, I think. The tuners are a bit grindy, so I'll probably take them off and clean them all out as well. So let's take these pickups out and see what's underneath. So as always happens with these things, or what tends to happen is you can get all of the screws out apart from the very last one, and it just seems to be your luck that it is the last one that gives the issue. So touch wood here, we'll see if we can get all of these out successfully. Now, bearing in mind these screws will be from the late 60s, probably have never been changed. I mean, as I found on some sort of cheaper budget guitars, some of these do snap, but fingers crossed folks, fingers crossed. Is it? Is it? Yes! They're all out. Now here's a funny thing, I always do this, I don't know if it's my OCD, I always put them in the order that they came out in, just in case there's a difference in size. So that's the ones from the neck pickup, the ones from the bridge pickup. Now, to be honest, I'll probably knock this and they'll all get mixed up, but maybe try and clean them off a little bit as well. They're a little bit rusty. So let's pull these out. Oh, I don't know if there's enough room. That's alright. Oh, so there we have it, underneath in the pickup routes. Solid body guitar. I read these are made of mahogany. I'm no expert on wood, not a man of my age. Seems to have some Japanese writing there. And again, the word we use in Scotland is big. That's a muckle tenon. The Scottish word being muckle. So yeah, 2 screws inside. Now, it has to be said, these aren't as well fashioned as perhaps Gibson or Greco's are, but you know, I guess if it works, it works. Truss rod in there. Just bare wood here. And maple. So there we have it. What do the pickups say? Pickups don't say anything. There they are. So just put these back down. Yeah. Back down. I'll need to take, because I'm taking the neck off, I'll need to loosen these screws as well. Now I'm just taking the neck off, just, you know, really out of interest and just to try and clean a bit more, and I guess just to make sure it does actually come off. So let's do that. Let's remove the neck. And I think as well, when I'm here, I'm going to remove this trim and everything underneath it. Got a closer look and it'll certainly be easier to clean it if I take this off. So is it just the 4 this is held on with? Oh, it is, it is. Oh, so there it is in the camera. It's a weighty beast that. Ah, so the, focus on that again. And then where the camera goes. Focus on that again. So this bit does seem to come off. There it is. Very dusty underneath. More Alice. There's the earth wire in there. The crud needs cleaned off. And there is the trim and the bridge. So here we have the guitar, and here we have the parts. Tuners, try and clean them out and lubricate them. The trim, try and clean that as well. Bridge, crazy, I believe. The saddles here, maybe take that to pieces, clean that. All the screws, controls, spring. Could all do with a good clean. Look how rusty they are. And the control plate. Again, probably a good clean required. Tuners are off, tuner bushings are left in. And there it is. It's like a build your own Mosrite copy from the 1960s. So yeah, the tuners are a little bit grindy. So I put them all in there. One of my wife's kitchen bowls, so hopefully she doesn't see this video. So I watched a video the other week there on that YouTube with Dan Erlewine, and he used naphtha to sort of flush these out. Now I don't have naphtha, but I do have Ronsinol lighter fluid, which I think is the same thing. I certainly hope so. So I'm going to try and clean them out with that, and then I have some oil to lubricate them slightly as well, and I'm just using 3-in-1 oil. So just the stuff I have in the house, I'll try and flush these out with this and then lubricate with that. So here we are, maybe just a tiny little bit of oil. Certainly seems a little bit better. So that's one. Don't want to use too much oil. There we go. About 6 tuners flushed and oiled. Now I'll let them dry. I'll dry them off with a bit of paper and then move on to whatever I'm going to do next. So the trim block seems to have lifted some of the lacquer, so I'll just try and polish out what I can. I mean, the secret here is I'm not trying to get this guitar from 1968 to look like it was built yesterday. I'm just trying to get the worst of the dirt off it. So let's see. So using Roto Sound guitar polish, just on a cloth. See how we go on. So that's a little bit better. Still a few marks, but like I said, this isn't about making the guitar look new. It's just about cleaning up a bit. A difference there. So I've watched a few online tutorials about removing rust from old sort of guitar parts. It seems to be that white vinegar, you can soak them in that and maybe use some baking soda on a toothbrush to sort of polish it off. So yes, as you saw in the video there, I did tempt fate. The screw head on that screw snapped off, and I think that one was about to snap off as well. So I did not take that any further. I did not remove the neck. So here's a neck profile at the 1st fret and at the 12th fret. The nut width is 41.7 millimeters. The neck width at the 12th fret is 50.54 millimeters. The neck depth at the 1st fret is 25.49 millimeters. And the neck depth at the 12th fret is 50.3 millimeters. So it does get a bit thicker as you go up the neck, and from what I read, that's definitely bigger than Mosrite necks, the original Mosrites. And it does have a big chunky volute as well. So how much do we think it weighs? Let's check. 4.6 kilograms, which is 10.14 pounds. So it's over 10 pounds. I mean, it's not the heaviest guitar I've ever owned, but it's definitely the heaviest guitar that I currently own. But it's felt surprisingly okay. I mean, it balances really well when I was using it in the rehearsal room there with the strap on it. No jokes, folks, with the strap on it. So yes, it's a well balanced instrument, sounds really good as well. So there you have it, the Morales ZES-300, made in Japan around about 1968 by Zen On. So for the end part of the video, I put together a quick piece of music which may or may not be based on a Sonics cover of a cover. As ever, folks, it's a privilege and a pleasure bringing content on Dunsy's Guitar World. Cheers for now. And another thing I'd like to address, so in my previous video, watch this. The Morales, look at the size of that trim. So I thought I had lost the control knob. Now this is 100% genuine, this is exactly what happened. I thought I had lost the control knob when I unboxed the guitar. What I didn't realise, and luckily loads of people pointed it out in the video, and I didn't even notice it when I was filming the video and when I was editing the video, the control knob was actually stuck underneath the strings, as you can see here. Now that seems to have been obvious to everyone but me. Now what I thought it was, like when you have a Jazzmaster, like this is my J Mascis Jazzmaster, you have like the bolt there, or the screw to lock the trem down. I must have thought that's what it was. I just thought it was part of the trem system, but it turns out it is not, and it was actually sitting there all the time. And what makes it even worse is, and again this is true, when I took all the screws off the pickguard, off the scratch plate, and I lifted it up and tilted the guitar, the control knob actually fell into the cavity of the guitar. It was in here, and when I took it off, I found it and I thought, that's a strange place to put the control knob. And I just went and made the video and never thought any more of it. I just thought, that's a very strange thing to do. There you go. Even people on YouTube can make horrendous mistakes and post the video and not even notice.